Today's build lives life a quarter mile at a time. And it's all about family and muscle power. Right after the intro. Welcome to Bricks and Toys. Today, we dive into the Fast and Furious franchise. Yeah, muscle. Okay, that's enough of that. My name is Brandon, and I thank you all for being here. And as you can already tell, today we are diving into the Fast and Furious franchise. Now, I'm super excited about this video because, as you guys know from watching my vlogs, I have had this build for a long time. But because of the backlog and everything, we just haven't gotten a chance to get to it. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And that makes today's video so much more special. And the reason that it makes it special is because this weekend was the premiere of Fast X. So what better time than now than to introduce our next build for the channel, which is the Technic Dom's Dodge Charger from Fast and the Furious. Now this is set number 42111, coming in at 1,077 pieces. Now this build did come out in 2020 or 21, I can't remember, one of those two. And it does retail for 120 US dollars. It is of the Technic line, and unfortunately, it is probably retiring at the end of this year. So this is an important build to get out and get done now while we can still order it off of Lego. And so I do want to take a little bit of time and talk about the Fast and Furious franchise, as that is the theme of the video, the build of the video, and it's the box office weekend for the new movie. Now, with Fast and the Furious, I watched the first movie when I was 10 or 11 years old, and I fell in love with it. The curly-haired blonde guy who's a cop, and yet he's a cool drag racer or street racer, and then he turns out that he's not really a good guy anymore, but he wants to be with the bad guys. That was an incredible story. And not to mention, watching that movie now 22 years later, and they're stealing DVD players. What a joke, right? I love when movies like that get old and all the technology and whatever was the hot commodity in that video is now dated. The only type of movies like that that don't get old is movies that's about robbing banks, which would be Fast 5. Now, Fast 5 is one of the movies that did, re-energize the franchise, but that's where I pretty much start falling off of the franchise. I love the first movie. I love the second one, even though a lot of people didn't. That second movie gave me a huge crush on Eva Mendes back then. I was about 12 or 13 when that movie came out, and I just remember being at that stage of life where you see pretty girls and you're like, wow. So yeah. So probably I like Too Fast, Too Furious a lot for that reason. Then, not to mention, when my brother got his driver's license was when Tokyo Drift came out. And we had a Honda Prelude, and man, we tore up the streets with that sucker. We went out late at night, strolling our small town, looking for other tuners just to go and get into shit. That was incredible. Now, fast forward to Fast and Furious in 2009. I was on the brink of getting my driver's license. I think I got my driver's license 2 months after that movie came out. And I remember riding my bike to the movie theater in the middle of the night to catch the first premiere of that movie and thinking to myself the whole time, this is the last time I'm going to have to ride my bike to a theater. Because after this, I'm going to have a driver's license and a truck that I can drive. And I later turned out to make that truck into a vehicle that I can street race. And why is that? Because I'm influenced by the franchise. Now, movie number 5 was the one that blew the top off. The Rock came in, and oh my God, that movie was incredible. Stealing the bank vault with the Dodge Chargers, a little off, but you know what? Hella good action. Unfortunately, 6 was mediocre. 7, we lost Paul. 8, 9, and now I'm just watching the movies for sport. It's like going out fishing just to get away from your wife. That's why I go out and see these movies. It's just to do it. Now, unfortunately, we did lose Paul Walker in 2013, and he was one of my biggest idols. He was what Elvis was to my mom, and that's what he was to me. And when I found out that he tragically passed away, I cried. Like, I'm not going to joke. You know, men do cry too, everybody. Because it was like I lost the guy I look up to. The curly-haired blonde guy out there street racing, I wanted to be like him. Because you know what? I am from an automotive background, if you guys are new to the channel. So that was really sad. I did live in Southern California when that happened, and I did go to Santa Clarita, to the warehouse district where he passed away at in the car accident, and I did see the memorial, and I could tell you, you could still smell the fuel and the fire from when that accident happened, when they had the memorial. But I got to take a bunch of pictures of all the movie cars and the crowd and everybody that came to show support for Paul. And that was a really touching moment that even right now as I'm talking to you on this camera, I have goosebumps just thinking about that time. And it's hard to believe that that's already been 10 years ago that we have lost Paul. And they're still making movies. And I just found out that Fast X is going to be not a two-part finale, but a finale trilogy. Crazy. And now that's 2 more movies I'm just going to go and see for sport when my heart really stopped at the 5th movie. Right here next to me, you know, I did pull out my line of die-cast Jada collectibles of the Fast and Furious franchise as a backdrop of this video to show you guys that, you know what, I am serious about this franchise and I am really happy to be doing this build. Unfortunately, when it came to this set, I already bought the Speed Champions Charger, and I was like, do I need another Dom's Charger? I got the Speed Champions version. And then I was watching a YouTuber's video, and in the background, I saw this build with a prop rod doing a wheelie. Kind of like in the first movie and all the other movies that, you know, he goes, family, and, you know what I mean? And it turns out that that's actually a function of this build. And then I saw it on the to be discontinued list, and I told my investor, I said, we got to do it. We got to get down and we got to do it. And like I said at the beginning of this video, what a better time to do it than right now, as it is the premiere of Fast X this weekend. So let's go ahead, let's get this box broken open, and let's see what we have in terms of the build. So let's go ahead, let's grab a knife, let's cut this box open, let's see what we have in terms of this build. So right off the rip, I'm just going to tell you guys, it's pins and beams and all the Technic things. And yes, I did rhyme that on purpose. But that's what we come to expect from Technic. If you open up a Technic box expecting Lego, you're in the wrong line of products. Unfortunately, these builds can be really tedious, but you know, it's all right. We do have a sticker sheet hidden down in this envelope. Sticker sheet is the front of the Charger and some other iconic pieces of the 70 Charger that they use in the movie. Sticker sheet says 2020, so it is a 2020 build that will be discontinued at the end of the year. And we are looking at about 10 stickers. The book feels pretty light. Again, it is only a 1,000-piece build. Now the book does go up to Fast 8, so this build obviously came out before Fast 9 did. But it does show you all the iterations of the Charger throughout the movies. Now we are looking at 357 build steps and 224 pages for this build, which is common to be a little bit higher for a piece or a build count of this size because it is Technic. Now we are looking at 4 bags total to make the build. So, with the way my scheduling is, this is going to be 1 bag a day for 4 days, edit the video, and then get it out to you guys. But there is going to be a time lapse on this video, so for you guys, My 4 days is going to be a couple of minutes for you. So sit back, enjoy the time lapse, and we'll be back for the review. Now we enter the review of Dom's Dodge Charger. And guys, I have to say, it's okay. I'm gonna let you guys go through this review without me seeing anything biased, and then we'll dive into our thoughts and see how we are at that point. There's only one word that comes to mind on all of this, and that is the word of afterthought. That's the front. That's the side. We do have an attempt to make it look like it has the normal roof trim. We do have a wheel back here that does turn those wheels. Now there is a chain on the blower motor, and if you move it, you can see that it does turn. There we have the back. Now we can open the trunk and find 2 NOS bottles. NOS! Which we all know is not flammable, but they still ran and blew something up in the movies anyway. There we have that big V8. And you see the pistons move and the car rolls, as well as the chain moves. At least with this version, the blower is not mounted to the hood like on the movie cars. And there we go back down the side. We do have the door that opens up. It does have a little, looks like a fire extinguisher canister. And we also have an opening door on this side as well. It does have full suspension, which is good. The car does have a good bounce. The bottom side is pretty moderately detailed. It's what you would expect from a Technic set. One feature that this thing does have, if I can find a way to get my finger in there, it's not made for people with fat fingers, is you can kick back this lever and put it in wheelie mode. 1/4 mile at a time. Woo! Sorry guys. So that's this. Now let's go ahead, let's get on to the final thoughts, everybody. So now we are in the final thoughts portion of this video. And you know guys, despite the fun that I had starting this video, talking about how much I love the franchise and all that good genuine stuff, overall I was hesitant about this build. I think I kind of said it at the beginning. I did do the Speed Champions Dodge Charger. I'm looking at it right now. it came out blocky, and it's okay. It's kind of proportionate. A Dodge Charger, in my opinion, a 69 or 70, is going to be kind of hard to capture on Lego. You know, some of these cars, like you will see with tomorrow's video, with the Ford Mustang, it's kind of hard to capture some of these curves and these angles in brick, and this one is no exception. Like I said, I was hesitant about this build. I only did it because it was going on retired, and it is a Dodge Charger from Fast and the Furious, which is one of my favorite movie franchises next to Star Wars. And it's just one of those things to where it had to come home. It's only a little over $100, and I think 120 US. So it just made sense to do it. But looking at it, it is a 50-footer. If you are like across the studio, clear into the car part of my garage that I work in, it looks pretty cool. Even from here at this angle, it looks pretty cool. But I do have to say, when picking it up and looking at it, the way that the hood comes down, we all know Dodge Chargers have a flat hood, so it's like, that's not politically correct. This whole area right here is just a haphazard attempt, and then to make these chrome trim pieces to kind of resemble that part of the car. I mean, it just looks rough. And then there's no floorboard or anything in the trunk, no panel in the trunk. It's just two NOS bottles, and it's like, you don't want your nitrous oxide just floating around where you can see right through into the camera. So it's like this whole thing was done by an afterthought. It's like they wanted to do a Fast and Furious Dodge Charger build and put a wheelie stand on it, which is what I'm holding it by, and call it a day. And the thing is, though, when you look at the proportions and everything, this thing is unproportionate and chunky, just like when you see Vin Diesel's vacation pictures when he's not on set getting photoshopped or whatever they do to make him look muscular. That dude's chunky as shit. Just like this. I don't mean to talk bad about Vin Diesel, but they do a lot of fake crap in these movies, and if you don't know it by now, then, well, Santa Claus isn't real either. But it is what it is. It is a cool build. I am glad to have it in my collection, but it just didn't live up to the full expectations. Now, if you collect Technic cars to collect Technic cars, then I do recommend it. Just get it into your collection. That's kind of what I'm doing right here. If you're a Fast and Furious franchise nerd like myself, another good reason to get it. But let's just be honest, guys, there's a reason that you don't see this thing on the shelf of all of your main stores, and there's a reason that it's kind of like buried into Lego's catalog. It's not a big seller, I'm going to guess, and it's not really desirable because once you've seen it done like this, it's kind of like, yeah, it would have been better just to call it a Fast and Furious car and keep the Dodge Charger licensing off of it. I mean, that would have been a better justice than to put the Dodge Charger licensing on it and call it a Charger. You could have just called it a Fast and Furious car. This thing resembles a Dodge Charger as much as last week's farm truck resembles a Ford. Sorry to say. So other than that, guys, I don't have much to talk about with it. I do like how the blower pulley spins with the motor, pistons going up and down. I do like the wheelie bar to make it, you know, position upwards. I do like those functions. It's just at $120, you compare it to the Ford GT, which we did back in March, you can kind of see that, you know, yeah, there's some blank spaces in there, everybody. So with that, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up this video. And I just want to tell you guys, thank you for all the support on the channel. We are still doing the 200 subscriber bet, or whatever you want to call it. If we can get up to 200 subs, I'm going to tell you guys right now, we have 3 buildings in a cart right now. And they are the Palace, the Fire Brigade, and the brick bank. They're all sketchy. They're all semi-used or used, and they all will make 4 excellent videos and be part of the city if we can get up and over that 200 subscriber mark. So we mean it when we say we're going to bring some interesting used modular building content. If we can hit 200 subscribers, we mean it. We have plans. We just got to do it, everybody. So on that one, I say thank you for everything. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And more importantly, thank you for watching this video. And I hope you all have an excellent rest of your day or whatever time it is, and you just have an overall great one. Thank you for watching.